Well, hello.
Hi there.
We are getting ready to have a class on what is known as sleep deprivation. I would like to first start by you introducing yourselves. So, who do I have here?
My name is Inez Williams. I am an accountant with the Department of Justice.
All righty. Very good. And yourself?
My name is Bridget Winston, and I work with the Community Involvement Alliance, a nonprofit organization.
Well, all right. Well, my name is Carl Taylor. I am the instructor today. I am a board-certified chaplain. I've worked in prisons and in hospitals and in detention centers for juvenile. I started my journey at the VA Medical Center here in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was an intern, and I earned myself 2 units of ACPE training. After that, I worked for 1 quarter at St. Joseph's Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia, for a heart and lung hospital where they treated mostly heart attacks, strokes, lung condition. And I gained 1 unit of ACPE training. And finally, I did my residency at the Princeton Baptist Medical Center there in Birmingham, Alabama, under the leadership of Dr. Cecilia A. Walker. We called her the Little Storm. She was a beautiful woman, a woman that paid very close attention to detail and taught me how to do the same. So I thank her for that. So let's get started here. We've introduced ourselves, and I want to explain to you what this lesson plan is, or our learning objectives. Our learning objectives are to identify certain aspects of childhood physical abuse that causes sleep deprivation. Also, number 2, a description of the pros and cons of the group discussion concerning sleep deprivation will help us to evaluate it even more closely. Number 3, evaluate counseling theories to develop a teaching technique relevant to the problem of sleep deprivation. So we're going to be able to help teach or even help encourage or help others who are suffering from sleep deprivation.
Okay.
All right, and we'll use counseling theories to do so. And number 4 is to create techniques and to manage or resolve sleep deprivations, such as music therapy or drawing the dream or group discussions. These are certain things that will help those who are struggling with sleep deprivation due to childhood physical abuse. Okay? All right, now let's go on a little bit further. I want to discuss a little bit about the questions I asked you prior to the class, which the pros and cons have to deal with, and some of the other things that will pop up. But for now, just want to go over these questions that I asked you prior this class that I sent via email to you. So the first one is, what does sleep deprivation mean? Can somebody tell me what that means?
Lack of sleep.
Yeah. Or something that disturbs your sleep. Right?
Traumatic events.
Traumatic events. Amen. Okay. Very good. So what is post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD?
It's a result that leads from sleep deprivation.
Explain how. You're right. It is a result or a symptom, right? That occurs, that you develop as a result of something that's reoccurring and that continuously troubles you from a traumatic event that may have taken place years ago in your childhood. Right? All right. So the last question, what therapeutic method or form of therapy would you consider using to resolve sleep deprivation due to childhood physical abuse. There's a question.
With music,
That's a good therapy. How would you use it?
it release stress.
Well, how about even when you're going to sleep, just having an earphone on
music,
or having
soothing.
relaxed, soothing,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, huh? Maybe.
Nature sound.
Yeah, nature sounds.
Oh,
There you go. That's a good one.
Yeah.
The sound of the birds, the
Water.
wind, the flow of water. Some people say the sound of wind soothe a soft breeze, like coming in, like a whisper.
Ocean.
I can see that. Yeah.
Breeze.
Ocean breeze.
That could be so soothing
Soothing.
and relaxing, and take away the stress and maybe the anxiety that you're carrying on into your sleep that causes nightmares and disturb or even type of dreams that not necessarily nightmares, but dreams that you get lost in and will seem like you're falling or seem like something like that. You know, those kind of dreams. So, yeah, not bad. Very good. Very good. I applaud you for that. Yeah. All right. Let us now check out my friend, and I hope yours, Mr. Ben Tennyson. Old Ben 10. Let's see what's going on with Ben 10 here. That gets me every time. Billy, my boy. See how I hurt him?
Look at you and your tiny legs trying to run. Too bad there's no way for you. Not so fast.
Better write that down. Keep that so you don't forget.
I can't
Remember,
take
take
it
notes
anymore.
so you can remember.
He's just dreaming.
Circus peanuts!
And sleep shouting.
He's been like this for hours. I'm getting all sleepy, grumpy.
Ben, come on. It's just a dream. No more eye punches, please.
It's cool, Grandpa. I got this. A banana! Don't turn me into a balloon animal!
You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Don't turn
of
me
course.
into a
Why would you?
balloon animal.
You've been screaming in your sleep for the past 5 hours. What were you even dreaming about? You know, the usual fighting bad guys, some bozo chasing me through an endless void. No. Normal dream stuff. Nightmares about some bozo? But you totally beat him up like every other week. Yeah, I know that. It's just some dumb dream. It's not like it means anything.
Sometimes bad dreams are a manifestation of something that's bothering you in real life. I just want you to know that Gwen and I are always here for you if you need us. We can help you face this scary thing together. Oh, he's asleep again.
Wisdom of that.
Well, I guess I'll get a glass of water since I'm already up.
Get that cotton candy away from me!
Never mind, still need any water.
Ben, wake up! Going for a sleep. Glad to see you're finally enjoying yourself. Sweet dreams, Billy boy.
Okay, Ben. Wakey, wakey.
Ben, you're dreaming. It's not real. Operation Wake That Up is a no-go.
Okay, new plan. Operation Don't Drown. Oh, what a coincidence. We're also road tripping across the country.
We've had the worst luck, but I think it's finally turned around.
Operation Success. No more unicycles. Dart tosses rigged.
How is that boy still asleep? Oh my. Well, you mop all dry? Sleep tight, Gwen. You've earned it.
Huh? What in the world? Where am I? What is that?
prefer the term
Ooh, the term nightmare.
What? You don't like my monkey? Well, how about my mallet? Huh. Oh no. Are you both having nightmares?
This wasn't a normal nightmare, Grandpa.
Yeah, we were in the same dream together, and the dreams are getting stronger.
Do you remember when these nightly occurrences started happening, Ben?
Like a counselor.
Ben!
It started when we got to this
Grandpa was
campsite.
like a
I'm gonna
counselor.
take a look around. I can't go on like this. I need sleep to be a hero.
Well, I'm coming with you, sleep deprived or not.
Me too. Gwen's right. Family sticks together, especially when facing Ben.
Huh? Oh, right. Family together. Let's go.
Well, all right. What did you think about the little short film?
Quite interesting.
Very interesting.
Enlightening.
Well, I'm glad you found it enlightening. So now we probably can discuss it, huh?
Of course.
So let's analyze it a little bit. Let's analyze the Ben 10 short video we just watched. This gives you a chance to reflect a few moments. I want you to think about it. Look over your notes, whatever you took down. Give yourself a moment to think about what you just saw that Ben 10 was going through while he was having a what?
Deprivation. Post-traumatic stress.
How about this? A nightmare!
Yeah.
Which is one of the symptoms
Of sleep.
of the criteria of post-traumatic stress disorder that was developed due to sleep deprivation. How about that?
Yes.
Sound pretty good?
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, it is. And it happens to all of us one time or another.
Yes, it does.
I don't know anybody, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, a pastor friend, a church member friends, even just regular friends that I know that have not ever had a nightmare. And the ones that tell me they haven't had the biggest nightmares of them all. And it's trapped back here in their subconscious. So tell me, what all did y'all see? Analyze the movie for me.
Well, Ben was having problems sleeping. He was apparently, it seems he was being bullied, and he was dealing with, I guess the character in his dream was probably dealing with the bullying.
Zombozo,
Zombozo, right?
the clown.
The clown, yes. And his the results of him sleeping was trickling over to his family. I kind of observed that his sister was irritable, and his grandfather kind of like smoothed it over, and also
So grandpa wasn't irritable.
he wasn't irritable, no.
He was laid back like a wet noodle.
Right.
More like somebody who has been through it and know what to do
How to deal with
and
it.
know how to deal with it and recognize certain symptoms.
Symptoms.
He almost looked like a counselor in a way, is what I saw.
He
What did you
opened the
see?
invitation for him to like communicate
Wonderful.
back with him. Yes, he did.
He engaged them with open-ended questions. So what would you do when you see somebody in a group that had a terrible nightmare and came to the group and shared? Would you or ask that same type of open-ended questions?
Perhaps, yes.
Right? I think it'd be best to do so.
Yes, yes.
Because by you asking open-ended questions, that invites the client to what?
More
To explain, to open up. And it helps to develop trust.
correct. Yes.
To be a good counselor, you have to be able to engage, interact, and as they would say, a layman's term, wear it on your shoulder. So that way they feel comfortable, relaxed, not tense, irritable. Why are they here? What am I doing here? Or looking at you not having competency. Just something to think. Well, that's good. Let's move on. So, you being the student, explain to me in a more detailed manner of how you saw Ben 10 and what you observed through from the beginning to the end. I think there's two things that jump out, but I want to hear what you think.
Well, first of all, from a physical standpoint, he had baggy eyes, droopy. He didn't seem like he had much energy.
Mm-hmm.
What else? You think something else?
Remember the whole film now, not just me. How many people in the film?
Oh, 3.
All right.
His sister was
What?
was grumpy, like
How that happen?
she was irritated with
Why?
him because he's not getting the sleep.
Or was it that she was keeping her up?
Yeah.
Kicking her, yelling, screaming, slapping, shouting.
Mm-hmm. But at the end, I saw that the grandfather was support. He was like a family support.
But don't go right to the end. What happened in the middle there?
Mm-hmm.
You flash by some stuff that's really important. What about the dream that he had? What happened to it? How did this dream really attack the family?
The sisters started having the same dream.
Bingo.
Yes.
The sister started having the same dream. So now the dream comes more complex, doesn't it? It's not just Ben's dream now. Ben's dream then passed on to the sister due to the irritability, the constant 5 hours of the same thing that she's hearing over and over and over and over again. So it was very easy for her to slip into his dream and make it her own dream.
Correct. Yeah.
Complex post-traumatic disorder. We just took it to another level. What do you think about that?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, something to think about. What Arsenio Hall used to say, something that make you go, There's a perfect example of what sleep deprivation can do to you. We don't even know what made this young man go to sleep in the middle of his studies. Wonder what he's dreaming about. You think the bully got him, or he's so tired that he can't run from the bully no more? And in the dream, him and the bully are having a standoff. We don't know though. We're just assuming. And that's the worst thing you can do. Assume. So you never lead the client. You ask them open-ended questions so that they will tell you what's going on with them, and that alleviates you assuming. You know, when you think about it, how did it affect the loss affect Ben 10? How did the sleep loss affect him, really?
Like I said before, his appearance was
So it was physical.
physical.
What about his mental?
Yes, mental.
Yeah, he kind of shoved it on down like, I'm just done. When Grandpa asked him an open-ended question, how long have you been suffering from this? What did Ben say? Oh, multiple times, you know, but it's just the same old.
Right.
Same old. It sounds like he's in denial.
Right, exactly. He blew him off.
He blew him off.
As it been normal.
Willie, everyone could see that this young man is having a serious problem, but yet he blows it off. So to him, it's not a problem that he can't handle. Is he handling it?
No.
Not at all. What else can you think of about his sleep loss? See, I'm trying to give you a little fuel for the fire. So get those thinking, creative juices working.
Destructive behavior.
Oh, he became destructive. What did he do? He turned into Ben 10 creation and flooded the place out, didn't he?
Correct, yes.
He even messed up the campfire.
Yes.
I'd have been mad. My roasted pork on the spigot, gone. Oh, Lord.
Washed away, yes.
because of this young boy's nightmare caused him to wake. And then he really didn't wake up out of it, did he?
No.
That grandpa said, can you believe this boy is what? Sleepwalking. That's another level of what? Sleep deprivation that caused him to be so tired to where he was up but not up. Sleepwalking. Sleeping but functioning on the outside world.
Right. It's amazing.
That is the ultimate symptom of sleep deprivation. Because you can actually sleepwalk yourself to the edge of a window and jump out of a building.
Coping.
Want to fly. Remember, he was falling.
Right.
Can you see a sleepwalker accidentally walking out into the street and a bus hit him? Or a car hit him in the middle of the night?
Right.
Or sleepwalks to a swimming pool and can't swim, but he jumps in. Nobody there to help him and he drowns. What was happening with Ben? He was drowning, didn't it? Zumbozo grabbed him by his legs and did what?
And held him down.
Under the what? Under the water. What a nightmare. You die in your sleep. You might die in real life.
True.
Something to think about.
Opening
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to take for a minute just to give you a short lecture on some things and bring us more up to speed on what this is all about. I want you to start critically thinking more now. In other words, think about therapeutic methods that would help someone overcome, manage, or even just resolve the sleep deprivation issue that they're going through. I want you to picture in your mind, what would you do if you knew you were having sleep deprivation? How would you yourself handle it? There are many ways. Group therapy, as the one comes into a group, and we're going to talk some more about the group therapy in a minute. We're going to check on the pros and cons of group discussions. But group therapy, family support. Like with Ben 10, Grandpa was the family support. And the little sister, especially at the end of the movie, where they both explained that they were both in the same dream. And then Grandpa said, well, we're going to fight this thing together. That gave Ben, even though he was about to go back to sleep, Grandpa woke him up, get up! And Ben jumped up. That's the family support. Now let's get at it to solve this problem. So you've got that. We talked about music therapy. We talked about the sounds of nature. We talked about the running of water. We talked about drawing of pictures. Draw out your dream. If it's a nightmare, draw it out. So now you can see it. The counselor can see it, or the therapist can see it. And now we have a base to build on and to work from and to work at. Because when you can face your fear, you can conquer your fear. Sigmund Freud gave us the id, the ego, and the superego. And it's the superego that controlled the ego, and the ego controlled the id that, you see? So the ego, superego, and the id. He had something, didn't he? Because all those things control how we think and our cognitive behavior. How was Ben's behavior?
Dismissive.
Sporadic. One way this way, one way the next way, then droopy, then crazy reactions, kicking, fighting, trying to defend himself from something that's not even there. Restlessness, then sleep deprivation, where he burns and crashes, the other end of the spectrum. So again, I want you to define what is sleep deprivation. Go ahead, define it now, since you know all these things.
Well, it causes, lack of sleep
Yeah, well, we
due
know
to
that.
traumatic events,
There it is, traumatic events, and what else?
post-traumatic stress disorder.
All right, that's the symptom. And so what are some of the symptoms that are of post-traumatic stress disorder?
Nightmare.
Nightmare, flashbacks, headaches, rapid eye movement,
Heart palpitation.
heart. Did you see when Ben's heart was like it came out his chest? I'm glad that we are able to look on these things. You don't mind, but it is important that we realize and remember how sleep deprivation can cause a multiple of symptoms. And it is important to be able to recognize these symptoms in order to develop some form of therapy that will coincide with it to help the individual overcome them or overcome sleep deprivation or at least be able to manage it. So let's go on now. We're going to identify what post-traumatic stress disorder is, PTSD, a disorder that results when an individual lives through or witnesses an event in which he or she believes that there is a threat of life or physical integrity and safety and experiences fear, terror, or helplessness. If you take out the other sheet that I gave you, these are the symptoms that are part in the criteria of post-traumatic stress disorder. Renez, would you please read the first one?
Intrusion symptoms. Intrusive distressing memories, recurrent distressing dreams, dissociative reactions such as flashbacks through a complete loss of awareness of present surroundings, intense or prolonged psychological distress at exposure to internal or external cues that symbolize or resemble the traumatic events, marked physiological reactions to reminders of the traumatic events.
Would you read number 2, Bridget?
Avoidance symptoms. Avoidance of distressing memories, thoughts, or feelings associated with the traumatic events. Avoidance of external reminders, people, places, conversations, activities, objects, situations that arouse distressing memories, thought of, or feelings associated with the traumatic events.
All right, I'll read this one. Alterations in cognitions and mood. Dissociative amnesia for important aspects of the traumatic events. Persistence in exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself, others, or the world. Distorted blame of self or others about the cause of consequences of the traumatic events. Persistence, negative emotional state, such as fear, horror, anger, guilt, or shame. Diminished interest in significant activities, feelings of detachment or estrangement from others, persistent inability to experience positive emotions, unable to have loving feelings, or having psychiatric numbing, for example. Renee, would you read number 4?
Alterations in arousal and reactivity, irritable or aggressive behavior, reckless of self-destructive behavior, hypervigilance, exaggerated startle response, problems with concentration, sleep disturbance.
So tell me, which of these do you think, or which ones do you think fit what sleep deprivation causes?
You talking about the symptoms?
Out of the 4 symptoms, the 4 major categories I gave you.
I would say 4.
What you say?
2 for me.
You know what I'm gonna say?
What's that?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Ben was irritable so much he had exaggerated startled responses. Remember when the girl, get up! He had destructive behavior. He popped Grandpa. He felt guilty and shame when he found out that his sleep was causing so much problem.
That's true.
He started drooping and looking like a little boy again. Well, I mean, what I'm gonna do? I don't know how to do it. This is getting crazy. Me and her both had the same dream. Sounded like a little child. I need help, Grandpa. Grandpa would come to the rescue. All right, we're gonna do this thing together, right? So yeah, I'd say it's all of them. Let's go to the next. Let's discuss the pros and cons of group discussion. We have talked about group discussion as being one of the therapies that could be used to help those who have suffered from sleep deprivation due to childhood, physical abuse. Something happened to them in their dream. That's why they're dreaming of being physically attacked. And the guy looks like a clown. Bozo the clown represents all bullies in Ben 10's eyes. But Ben 10 feels like he can handle it. That's why he blew off Grandpa. He was in denial. So it took the family support group to kind of help Ben get on the trail of discovering a way to overcome his nightmares that were caused by sleep deprivation that was caused by childhood physical abuse. Correct? So let's check out it. Let's give me some pros.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Not alone. All right, next.
Support.
Support. Family, group, any of that, right? What next?
Everyone's on the same page. Common. Everything's
Common. Same things, right? Well, any more pros? But what about cons then?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerable.
cultural differences.
Culture. Differences. What next?
Race.
Race. How about that?
Not participating in a group setting. In a group.
How about this? You said not participating, okay? Non-participation. Well, that's pretty good right there. Non-participation, if you can see it go like that. Well, that's pretty good. That's a good few things that we know that's our pros and cons in group discussion. And we got to be careful of those things, right?
Right.
So not to harm or cause any danger or offensive. We are to do no harm. Part of the Hippocratic Oath, right? All right. And moving right along. So we showed that group discussions could be helpful in many ways, and in some ways can be harmful, right?
Correct.
So we try to stay on the pros side. We try to let them know they're not alone, let them know they have support here within the group, that we all are sharing the same thing. sleep deprivation. We all having nightmares and flashbacks because of sleep deprivation due to childhood physical abuse. All right. We just did the 2-column technique in order for what? To display it as a measurable content level of depression and anxieties. We can see that there's certain levels to this thing by looking at the pros and cons. The pros right now show that there are strong ways in support and not being alone and sharing the same things. And the other hand, though, there's this negative level that takes us to where we're vulnerable because of the nightmares. We go into our closet, our little shelter place. Cultural differences. My church affiliation is different from yours, so my belief system is different from yours. This guy here is Muslim, and this other lady here is Christian, and this one here is Jewish, and none of them seem to be race. We know is a big problem here in our country. There's still race anger between the races, not just black and white, but there's also anger within the races. How about that? Black among black crimes, Mexican among Mexican crimes, Caucasian among Caucasian crimes. It's not just as cut and dry as everybody thinks when it comes to race. You got internal problems in race and you got external problems in race. All right? Very good. Let's take this last little quiz. I think I passed it out to you. This?
Yes.
All right, let's go to that real quick. In your own words, define deprivation now.
Type of traumatic, post-traumatic.
Give it the whole description.
Lack of sleep due to traumatic events, which causes post-traumatic stress disorder.
Very good. That is very good. What therapeutic method would you use for Ben 10 and his family?
Family support group,
There you go.
counseling, or
Counseling.
Music,
How about medication?
medication,
A package deal like,
cocktails, some type of.
medications during a certain duration of time. 12 days you take this pill. Or take a shot once a week. Depending on a regimen of medication. Well, the lesson summary is that we have gone through what post-traumatic stress disorder is. That's the symptoms. And what are the 4 groups?
Intrusive symptoms,
avoidance, symptoms of avoidance,
alterations in cognition and mood, and alterations in arousal and reactivity.
Very good. Very good. Give yourself a round of applause. All right. So now that we have understood that, we start to see the big picture. That sleep deprivation comes with a lot of symptoms. And the symptoms are prolonged and develop into post-traumatic stress disorder. And it can get so drastic and so complex to, like with Ben 10 and his sister, when they shared the same,
That's interesting, yes.
till it came to being a complex post-traumatic stress disorder due to sleep deprivation caused by childhood physical abuse. Well, this is it. I want to thank you for being here with me. This is the end of today's class. Again, I'm Carl Taylor. I was happy to have you. I think we learned a lot together as well as learned a lot from each other.
Yes.
So farewell until next time. Goodbye.